So, hi everyone, and welcome to this on-demand presentation from RISI Project and DNV about how we together ensure traceability and credibility of our efforts against ocean plastic pollution. Today, I have the pleasure of presenting Anne-Sophie, who is the General Manager from RISI Project, and Sven, who is the Director of Global Go-to-Market at DNV Supply Chain and Product Assurance. So welcome both, and here's to you, Anne.
Thank you so much, and thank you for the short introduction. If we can just move on to the next slide. Perfect. Yes, as said, my name is Anne-Sophie, and I am here today to give a super short introduction to the work that we do at RISI Project. But to start up, it's quite commonly known at this point that ocean plastic pollution is one of the greatest environmental threats to our planet. So the big question is, of course, how do we tackle it? Well, since it's such a great issue, we also need to tackle it from multiple ways. We need to reduce the use of single-use plastic. We need to support the circular economy. And we also need to implement large and easily scalable cleanup solutions. At RISI Project, we are primarily focused on the latter point, but we do include all three aspects in the way that we work. And what we do is that we are cleaning oceans and rivers from plastic waste on behalf of brands and companies worldwide. These are all companies that all want to make a documented positive impact for the environment. Next slide, please. Our ocean and river plastic cleanup takes place in Indonesia, one of the most plastic polluted countries in the world. And here we employ people from local communities to collect the plastic. You can see some of them here already in action. Hereby, we support their income, and we also create economic growth in the areas where they live. But our impact goes further, since we also try to focus on working to improve waste management and support the circular economy by distributing our plastic waste, our collected plastic waste, further on for recycling and for government-controlled waste handling. And we also raise awareness to reduce the use of single-use plastic and to prevent plastic from ending up in nature in the first place. We do this both in the local communities where we operate and also through our larger reach as a global brand. Next slide, please. At RISI Project, we are very proud to hold the certification provided by DNV for the work that we do. RISI Project is the second only organization in the world to be certified to DNV's certification for plastic collected in the hydrosphere. You can see the certification document here on the screen. And hydrosphere, just to make that clear, it pretty much just means water, so water areas such as oceans and rivers. We have chosen to go through this quite demanding, and it should be, but quite demanding certification process because transparency is vital for us in order to provide full certainty of the impact that we do and thereby gain the needed trust from companies that are supporting our work. And to hold this certification, we need to document that we have full control and traceability of all handling points in our collection process. And to ensure this, we use our digital tracking system. Next slide, please. The tracking system consists of a tracking app that is used by all our collectors, where they register all parts of their daily collection process. All data is stored using blockchain technology, and this is making it immutable and thereby strengthening the traceability that we provide. And the tracking process works the way that you can see here on the left side of the screen. The collector sails out to collect plastic, and the app will automatically log in his GPS coordinates, his GPS position, so that we know exactly where the plastic has been collected. Then the collector will register all further points in the collection process with photo documentation from collection of the plastic on to sorting of the plastic, tacking and backing up the plastic, storing, and lastly, weighing up the plastic that he has collected. After this, we will come and pick up the plastic that he has collected and transport it to our local waste bank partners. Here the plastic will be weighted again, and the waste banks will distribute the plastic onwards in the system for further recycling and waste handling purposes. And on the screen to your right, you can actually see some of the actual cleanup photo documentation that is captured by our collectors in the application. And these are just a very, very, very few of the hundreds of thousands of photos like this that we get in our system every day of ocean and river plastic pollution. We see them in our tracking system daily, and it really just affirms to us that there is still such a big and important job to be done to ensure a future with plastic-free oceans. And with those words, I want to thank you for listening in to this short presentation of us here at REC Project, and I would like to pass on the word to Sven from DNV. Thank you.
Thank you, Anne-Sophie. Yeah, so from the DNV side, really what is the foundation for the ocean plastic certification is how to have trust in the system, in the supply chain, and that all parties involved really can showcase that this is for real and this is transparent. So as Anne-Sophie mentioned, it is about the hydrosphere sourcing, so anything from a lake, river, or ocean. And the certification is a so-called chain of custody certification, which means that in a chain of events, from picking up the material, collecting it, recycling it, throughout the chain, every phase or section in that chain is reviewed, documented, and thereby made fully transparent. Now, in developing this standard, why did it come about? We became aware of many demands from both those that are collecting, those that parties that wish to recycle, and of course large brands and companies that want to innovate with new products, but innovate with products that are, I would say, utterly transparent and where it's clear to the consumer what they are buying. And in so doing, it is not only a matter of cleaning up the ocean, the wider ESG, so environmental, social, and governance around this activity and let's say economic activity is really at the heart of everything. Hence, the certification standard builds on a lot of best practice and protocols from already existing standards like management system certification, and also takes into account science-based approaches. Interesting is also that we combine increasingly a lot of digital elements. So just like REC showed you, a large part of the activity is fully digitally traceable. And for us as a certification body as well, this is a huge step forward, where we are not simply talking about, let's say, sending an auditor into the field at a given interval, but we are in a way looking at a live system with dashboards and data. We can see on a daily, even hourly basis what is going on. So for real-time assurance, as we like to call it, and data-driven approaches in certification, this is how we really can showcase the application and also the viability of it. Next, please. So coming to digital, we see that, how to make essentially a supply chain digital. Why would we want to do that? It's really about mirroring that what is happening physically is represented digitally. And there are several aspects to this, and I'll just touch on a couple. For the one, to have a full digital scope and scale means that every piece of material going into a bag, going into a deposit is, let's say, fully authenticated. And it gets an ID, and thereby it's very easy to keep track of who has collected, what were the amounts, what were the categories. There are, let's say, the chain of custody becomes apparent and with a digital stream. The second part is that if we are talking about a digital twin, imagine the product coming out, the new product, let's say, being coming out of this procedure through recycled plastics, turning into a new, it can be a chair, a fashion accessory. Even this product can also be digitally assessed. So you could talk about you're buying a pair of glasses or you're buying a piece of furniture, and it also has a specific ID. So when you as a consumer access it, you can perhaps see a QR code on a label or any other form, let's say, of digitally opening up the story behind the product. And you also know for sure that even this product has a unique serial number. It's coming from a unique batch, and the batch itself has a unique provenance. So making this tie, having the red line, is really also at the heart of what we say, becoming radically transparent. Next. So a bit to how this works in practice. Important is for this to work, we need to work with many stakeholders in many countries, and there can be also different approaches and let's say accessibility topics. So important is that we can work with private collectors, equally enterprises, such as RISI, that for reporting purposes, for management insights, need analytics. The whole flow of information comes together. Now, what we are looking at here is really the sort of the app that is guiding the collectors. So you see here to the left, a sort of a data point list, which is an entry menu to look at the harvest of the day or the bagging of the day, or a more summary operation of the week. And by accessing these workflows, which I won't talk through them in detail, the collector and anyone involved now in this procedure is guided through, and everything is, let's say, standardized. So we know exactly which categories we are talking about, what are the metrics involved, down to the bag IDs. So you could also say that by virtue of digitalizing this, we also reach a new standardization. And through standardization, we can obviously scale up. And scaling up means using digital to make things more efficient. So I think it's also very important that although we are in the early days in, I would say, an industry which is yet to become an industry in that sense, this is, it's clearly the first step in how we can prepare to scale and also showcase that all the technological elements are coming together. Next, please. So what do we get out of this? I think for sure it's for buying companies. So companies interested in sourcing recycled ocean plastics. It's trust in the provenance, the origin, and also the social ethical conditions in which this, let's say, stream of materials has come together. For consumers, it's the trust in, okay, I have a product in front of me, and I quite likely can see what is behind it, who has participated, and also see mere facts like, what was the batch, the amount of plastic taken out of the ocean, where exactly did this take place, and to make the buying decision, let's say at a consumer level, you then are also part of a wider movement, which is to make a positive impact in cleaning up the oceans. And some of the metrics you see here to the right in the picture can be either on, the logistics of the plastics journey and the ultimate product issued from it, or it can be the types of information that you might discover. So about the life cycle of the product, of course, but also the social economic impact that Anne-Sophie talked about. So I think all in all, we are preparing for, I would say, the birth of, or more than the birth, it's already happened, but the scaling up of an industry. So maybe from being a small child to becoming a teenager is probably where the industry is at. And this is an exciting moment. I think a lot of companies are highly interested in it. And it's now really a matter of moving from, pilot projects to large, consistent streams of product and building what we all refer to as the circular economy. And in the circular economy, we want the trust to be the foundation for a healthy business. So over to you, Kenny.
Thank you both. That was very interesting, and thank you for giving us a quick demonstration of the traceability system and collaboration, of course, between the DNV and the RISI project. So if any listeners and viewers out there found this quick introduction interesting and want to know more, we of course encourage you to find RISI project and DNV on social media, or feel free to contact Anne-Sophie and Sven. So thank you for